Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. So today I'm talking highlights and I'm talking more detailed things that you might want to know. I know I've been asked a lot about more information about how I match and more about the highlights so that you can understand it better. So I'm not going to go into full color matching training because it is not as easy as it looks, and it takes a long time to master. So I'm just going to share my biggest tips and tricks and kind of a little bit of background about why I choose the colors I do for you when I am color matching you, a little bit of troubleshooting if you are having some of these issues, what can fix it, a few tips and tricks depending on if you are one of those people with a lighter neck, a darker neck, and some different things you can try, and how we can mix shades in order to custom match your face. Everybody is very unique, their skin tone is unique, and that's part of the reasons why our highlights work so well, because they can be mixed and matched and customized. So hopefully this video helps you. Keep watching if you want to check it out, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see my next video. Okay, friends, let's go ahead and get started. So I have done videos before all about highlights, and some of that I'll touch on in here. I have a separate video on color correction and another one on troubleshooting, but this one's gonna be like all-encompassing highlights, okay? A little bit how I color match, and a few things that you need to know if you are trying to find the perfect highlight shade, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk Maskcara Beauty highlights. So I'm gonna bust out my artist palette here and show you guys, all right? So we have 17, is that right? 17 highlight shades now. Through the years of being an artist, we've gotten more, mostly more darker shades and a few kind of in between there to hit some spots that we needed. But for the most part, our highlights are designed unlike traditional foundation. So traditional foundation, you're gonna put one shade all over. You're not gonna customize it depending on the colors of your face. Whereas this makeup, it is super simple to have multiple highlight shades like I do. Apply some colors in some spots, some colors in others. You can easily just tap into two and mix them straight on the face, and they're just much more versatile than traditional foundation. So when I color match somebody, I am not looking at, okay, she needs one color all over her entire face. That's not the way this makeup works, because to be completely honest, it is extremely rare that somebody has one tone over their entire face. So I've been trained, that's what I look for. I'm looking at the darkest part of their face. So I'm gonna use my face as an example. I know I don't have like extreme case of some of these things I'm gonna talk about, but I have no other face to show you. So when you're color matched for this, I give extremely detailed application instructions, and it is very important that you read that and follow those instructions carefully, because I am taking into account all of the ways you like to wear your makeup, any issues you might want better coverage on that you mentioned in your questionnaire, and I'm going to write that specifically for how you're going to get the best application with this makeup, okay? I promise I know this makeup inside and out. I've been doing it for a long time, and I know the colors and how they work. So it's kind of hard to figure it out for yourself. I will say it's virtually impossible. If you have any of those circumstances where you can't wear one shade all over your entire face, which I said was rare. So I'm gonna show you my face as an example, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how you can mix and match and how you can kind of troubleshoot. So yeah, because these highlights are not universal, okay? I find our contours are a much more universal product. Like you might find one contour that works way better than the others, But for the most part, contours are much more universal than our highlights. Our highlight shades are not. If you are wearing a color or you attempt to apply a color to your face that is too light for the skin directly under it, you're gonna have all kinds of issues. So unlike traditional foundation where you can say you have a darker, or say you have a lighter neck than your face and you wanna match your neck, you can apply a lighter liquid foundation and it's gonna wear the exact same way that a darker one would, okay? So this makeup, you can't do that. So say you are shopping on Maskcara's website and you're like, okay, I want a lighter shade to match my neck. If you buy a lighter shade, I promise you, you are gonna have longevity issues. Most likely you're gonna apply it and straight away it's gonna look textured. It's gonna show every pore and it's not gonna blend, okay? Sometimes it looks too yellow. Sometimes it just doesn't last. So say you apply it all over and you're like, okay, this looks good. And because some of our shades do blend in really good. And if it's a close enough shade to your natural skin tone, it might blend and look great. But then you're looking at your face 2 hours later and it's gone. You have nothing left on your face. That's because your shade is too light. So with this makeup, it's super important. I'm looking at the darkest part of your face. So for me, if I was color matching myself, I'm gonna immediately see that my nose is darker than my lighter area. So my nose, obviously, usually foreheads, noses and chins stick out more. They get more natural sun. So usually those are the darkest parts of somebody's face. Usually the jawline is lighter and around the mouth, like exactly where I am, okay? So I have redness. I know it's getting better, but it's kind of hard to tell. I have hyperpigmentation. I have redness around my nose, but that redness is what's causing that darkness. So a lot of times it's caused by redness. Sometimes you just have a more tan nose. So my nose has more freckling, so automatically it's pulling darker than the areas of my face that don't get as much sun and don't have as much sun damage. So I'm looking at the darkest part of your face. I'm matching that first, because if you put a darker shade or a lighter shade on my nose, your nose is gonna wear off. And I find that that is the number one issue, is people's noses. Because a majority of people have darker noses, they're applying a shade that matches the rest of their face and they're not addressing the darkest part of their face first. Okay, so I'm looking here and I'm looking, do I have any other issues? I have hyperpigmentation, I have redness, and I have some darker areas, okay? I'm matching those first. Now, it will depend on your preference of how you like your makeup, depending on whether you want a color corrector or if you even need one. Not everyone needs one, but those people that are wanting more full coverage, if they have any issues like I do, I most definitely will recommend a color corrector. So I also have, they're not horrible dark circles, but they are purple, okay? They're just purple. So in order to color correct and bring those back to neutral, I'm gonna use a color corrector under there as well, because it gives me better longevity and it gives me better coverage, okay? And I like medium coverage. I don't like it super sheer because I want those things covered. The sheerer you go, you might not have as good wear time on anywhere that is darker, okay? So for the best longevity and coverage, color correction is the way I do it. Layering shades is super easy with this makeup. It doesn't take any extra time to dip into more than one cream. You're not opening bottles and having to like mix things like that. The creams make it easy. The creams make it super fast and convenient. So a little more about our actual highlights and why I choose the colors I do for you. So these creams, I can't stress enough how deceiving they are from the way they look in the 10 and the way they look online than how they pull in real life on real human skin. Okay, so you got to take into account that you're not putting this on a white piece of paper. You're putting this on an actual skin tone, okay? So people are always most scared about what I call magic mango, okay? To them, it looks super orange because when you're comparing it to most of the lighter tones, it looks orange, okay? When you're getting into the darker skin tones, it doesn't. It actually doesn't at all. But darker skin is much easier to color match. They don't have as many variances of light and dark tones in their skin. So that's why we have so many lighter shades. I will be completely honest. These 4 last lighter shades, it is extremely rare that someone can wear that as a main highlight shade. I have probably done it, maybe I can count on one time, or one time, on one hand, how many people I've ever color matched to one of these shades all over. Not very many people have no darkness and no redness in their skin. These shades do nothing for darkness or redness, and you will find anywhere that you are darker or redder, and you might not even notice. I would notice on your face, but you might not notice. You might have a little bit of depth in your chin. It would wear off, okay? So now layering shades and using these shades on top of other shades is a completely different story, but just these shades by itself for that coverage, for that longevity, I promise you, you're not gonna get it unless you're one of those rare cases. So a lot of people have bought previously from the website and they contact me for a color match because it's not working, and it's because they're using a shade so too light. They're using one of these and they should be using one of these, okay? And it might not seem like it makes a difference, but honestly, one shade darker makes an entirely different application, okay? So it might not be that you can apply just one shade all over. You might need to layer in order to get the best match for your skin tone, okay? And that's where I come in. I can tell you what colors to try next, okay? So when it comes to tone, you can kind of see that for the most part, all of our shades are yellow based to a degree, okay? And the reason is because they're meant to brighten the skin, okay? These creams are not meant to match exactly, okay? Because they blend out so easily, okay? So I wear this as a color corrector, but you can see swatching it is really not gonna tell me what color, because I can swatch this and it looks like it matches on camera, but that color is too dark for me overall because it pulls me too warm. I can wear it, but it doesn't give me the best application compared to other methods, okay? So you can swatch the colors on your jawline all you want. It doesn't mean that that is your perfect match, okay? This makeup you can't swatch, and we're not trying to match it. I'm looking at the tone in your face. So for me, I have a lot of warmth. I have a lot of my redness and my freckles cause my face to be warmer, just like my neck and chest, because I'm freckled everywhere and I self-tan, which automatically gives my skin warmth. I'm gonna look at that. You can't wear a yellow-based shade that has no warmth in it if you naturally have warm undertones. If you naturally have that red in your skin and you put a yellow all over your face automatically is gonna look completely neutralized, but then your neck and chest are still gonna have that warmth, and you're gonna have what I call floating head syndrome. Your neck, your chest, your face are not gonna match, and you're gonna look off, okay? So if your makeup looks off, it might be a simple tweak of adding a color with warmth under it, something like that. If you are one of those very yellow people, you can wear those very yellow shades. And then we have a couple of neutral shades as well. So I'm also looking at tone very closely because we don't have a highlight in every darkness, in every tone, okay? So some colors we only have that might match your skin that are warm. So I'm gonna suggest a color to also tone it down, okay? So I hope that makes sense. These colors are very difficult to match to without experience in knowing the colors inside and out, okay? So I'm going to kind of show you what I do and another option. So I was talking about warmth in the face. So for me, I always go with Mango as my color corrector, and I go under the eyes, nose, cheeks, and chin. Another option, which helps a lot of people, say you have warmth in your neck and chest, or say you are one of those people that you keep your face out of the sun, so your face is a lot lighter than your neck and chest, but you want to match, you want to at least have it tie together. So if you were to match your face exactly, you wouldn't get the look you want because you would feel like, again, floating head syndrome and you're not matching. So the same goes the opposite, and I'll get into that when your neck is lighter, which I find is usually the majority of cases. So I'm gonna pick up the blush bronzer brush, okay, the B squared, and here's a good trick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use Bella. So these are some of the contours. This is Olive, Astoria, Indigo, 3 of my faves. This is Bella, so I don't know if you can tell, it's warmer. It's also a lot creamier than our contours. And you guys, it's more of a sheer cream bronzer, but it can be used a multitude of ways. And one of those ways is using it under your foundation, okay? So I'm just gonna use this brush and I'm gonna dab in, and I am going to use it to warm up that area. And this is a great option if again, your face is lighter, you need to add warmth, or you're one of those people that need Mango for warmth, or say you've been matched with something else warm like amber. So Mango and amber are our 2 warm tones. And then everything above Mango is pretty warm as well to a degree, because darker skin just naturally has that warmth in it. Okay, so I'm mainly gonna apply this where I'm lighter. So around my mouth where I was a lot lighter, I'm evening out my skin tone, guys. This is like an amazing trick for you to not have to use as much highlight. It actually gives more coverage, so you're not gonna have to use as much. If you're one of those girls that like a natural finish, but you have warmth and you need that Mango underneath for even redness, because this even works really good to match that warmth redness, that redness warmth. I can't talk, okay? So I just did a very light layer. It did not change my skin tone drastically, but now when I layer my highlight shades over it, I have that warmth and I'm not gonna look washed out. So if you're one of those people that you're wearing your highlights and you feel washed out, this is a perfect trick. You could also add your highlights and then just bronze where you want after. But I find this will give you overall like almost like that inner glow under your makeup. So it's amazing. Okay, so I still want to show you guys how I kind of color correct. A little bit about the brushes. I always recommend this brush for beginners and mature skin. This end, like I just did, buffing it all over the face, is the best brush to give a light layer, okay? And the biggest troubleshooting thing with this makeup is applying too much, applying too thick. Little goes a long way, just like the reason why these colors look different in the 10 than they do on the skin is because you need so little because they're so highly pigmented, okay? So like Sunlit, if I was to just swatch it on my skin, look how yellow that looks. Well, nobody is gonna be wearing this color that thick on their face. But when you apply it lightly and blend it out, it gives a brightening effect, okay? So having the proper brush is another thing that's really gonna help you with this makeup. If I am color matching you and I say, you know, apply this color all over first, buff it into the skin, light layer, this by far is gonna give you better results even than this brush. And I'm telling you, they don't look that different, but this is much more dense and this is much softer and it makes a huge difference. So when you are layering shades, there's only certain brushes that I find work best, and that's this brush. you can use this one. I find most people that start with the 30-second have issues with applying too much. It simply picks up way more product, okay? And then this brush as well, the Buffy, which is what I use on a normal day, but it picks up a lot, and this is the most dense brush we have. So this is definitely a more experienced brush. Like once you've got a hang of like how much to add and you've been wearing 3D for a while, then I recommend you can grab this one if you like a full coverage. Otherwise, start with this brush when you're layering. And I'm not even joking when I'm gonna stress when it comes to highlights, if you're wearing more than one highlight shade, which 99% of you are, you have to have the perfector. So I get asked all the time if the perfector is like other sponges, and I will be completely honest with you. I have tried this makeup with every other sponge on the market practically. Nothing is as soft as this. I've actually found one that is very close from Amazon. Otherwise, most of them don't even hold a candle to what this does with our makeup. So the perfector is key. This is the only way you can remove excess if you apply too much. And most people starting out will apply too much. And it's normal just because you have no idea. No other makeup on the market is this pigmented and blends out the way these creams do. So I am gonna go ahead and pick up the B squared again, and I'm gonna show you how I normally apply. And this is, I really don't probably need my color corrector at this point, except for under my eyes, but I'm still gonna use it. So I have that warmth in my face, and my overall color is sandy, which is not warm. Okay, but it matches me fine. When I wear this, I feel washed out. And I think a lot of it has to do with the natural warmth in my face and my freckles. So a lot of people that have freckles, you've got to make sure you're almost wearing a color between your skin tone and the darkness of your freckles. If you go too light and match the skin under your freckles, it's going to pull your freckles gray, and it's going to make you look washed out because your face naturally just has that warmth from your freckles in it. And if you go darker, it's going to cover your freckles, okay? So if you want full coverage on your freckles, you're gonna have to go darker, but then that most likely is probably gonna pull your face darker than your neck. So then I'll explain in a minute how we remedy that. Okay, so when I match you, if I'm giving you a color corrector because you either have things you want extra coverage on, say you have redness, hyperpigmentation, or say your face is darker than your neck. Okay, if your face is darker than your neck and you're wanting to match your neck, you're gonna have to match the color of your face first. So I find this is the biggest thing that is hard for people to wrap their minds around, is when I'm giving you a super dark shade, don't be scared. You're gonna have to buff that on all over, because unless you just have one area of your face that is darker, like your nose, then you would just use a color corrector there. I call it almost like your color correcting base, okay? We also call it a masking highlight, because a lot of people have, like I do, which is like a mask area to where this portion is darker. So we're going to address that darkness first. So anytime I give you a darker shade, a color corrector, always apply it first. Remember, we have to match the skin directly under it, and then we can layer lighter shades on top of that in order to get back to your skin tone and the look you desire, okay? So I'm just gonna, this is mango. You can't even like see it on my skin. This is how very little I'm talking about. Okay, my mango's almost out. You guys, whoop. I am going to, that's it. Tap it once, okay? If you're applying mango, just for an example, and you're saying it's pulling you orange, you're probably applying too much, okay? I could probably take this amount and dab it on every high point of my face and then buff it in, and that would be enough, okay? Because I don't have extreme redness, I just have some, okay? And that's also a good technique if you find it's not maybe blending as well. Let it kind of warm up, sit on your skin for a second or two, kind of warm up with the warmth of your face. Now, and then you can go and blend it out, okay? Again, buffing motions. This is how we keep layers thin, okay? If I say buff, small circular motions, and you keep blending that until you don't see it on your skin, okay? So I have to use a little bit more of my nose in order to get good coverage, but I'm still buffing it. But if I don't use enough, I notice I will get longevity issues. Okay. Now, if you have certain areas like me that like require more color correction than others, depending on how large the area is, I either say use the same brush and then press it on. Okay. Pressing it on. So always start with a thin layer on the area first. This makeup has to be built up in thin layers so it avoids being cakey, creasing, all those things. Using too much product is our number one enemy here, okay? So, sorry, I'm pressing, not buffing. So you can go in and press it on. Sometimes I like to just use my finger. Again, the warmth of your fingers is amazing with these creams. So sometimes I'm red around my nose, so I'll just press on more. For extra coverage, it gives me much greater longevity. So once you've been wearing this makeup a little bit, analyze your face. After the end of a long day, if you have the makeup wearing off one area, you might need a color corrector on that area. You might not realize that that area is darker and you need to address it first. It's a lot of times that happens. So notice where the makeup is wearing off first, and then you can go from there. So I go on my hyperpigmentation. Again, I like to use my finger. And then after I've done that first thin layer, I'm looking at my face to see if anything is really standing out that I need more coverage on. So this is where I go in. If I have blemishes, okay, if any areas need a little bit more, hyperpigmentation is a big one. And I've been breaking out like crazy lately. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in my under eyes. You can use a brush for this. I still use my fingers because I feel like it gives me more control of getting in. So I'm just simply tap, tap, tap. Okay, that's as much product as I need. It's actually probably too much for my entire under eyes, okay? Under eyes are the most delicate and hardest area. I have an entire video, I'll link it below, on under eyes. Very detailed, because that is everyone's like number one problem area, is getting their under eyes covered with no creasing and no cakiness without aging them, okay? So I go in all the way up here where I have purple, and I'm just gonna sweep that under my eyes. I already did my eye makeup, so I'll have to fix it a little. But notice the coverage I get just from that thin layer, okay? Matching my darkest tones. Under eyes can also vary depending on what color corrector you need, depending on what color is under your eyes. Mine are very blue, purple. So this is why mango works well for my under eyes as well. You might, mango is more universal, I would say. The warmer shades, so mango and amber, depending on your skin tone. If you are like more fair, like fair to medium absolutely is the darkest, and you just have a little bit, amber works really well. Anything darker than amber, and you will definitely need mango. Under your eyes, you can also try Frenchie, which is a lip and cheek that works very similarly to mango because of that orange undertone. It's actually also possible to color correct with some of our contours, depending on if you've tried highlights, and if they're not giving you the best coverage. Some people find that certain contours are great for hyperpigmentation and redness as well. So there's a lot of options with this makeup. Honestly, everybody's skin is so different. Hyperpigmentations are different colors, and it really varies depending on the exact shade of your redness and your hyperpigmentation, your dark circles, what is going to be the best option. And an artist can lay out those options for you and help you try to get the best look. So, okay, now I am color corrected. Okay, I can wear this color all over, but it will pull, you might not be able to tell on camera, but it does pull me where my face is a lot darker than my neck and chest, and I'm not getting the best coverage from just one shade. So if you are using a color corrector, or you like full coverage, or you are one of those people that your neck and chest is lighter than your face, this is what I suggest. So again, we can't put a lighter shade on the face and without getting issues in order to match the neck and chest. So I will give you a color to match the depth of your skin and even you out, okay? And then I'm going to give you a lighter shade in order to more or less mix, but it's not mixing. Because we're layering shades, you're almost getting the same effect as if you are mixing them 50-50, which means like literally taking this and this and buffing it straight on the face. Like that shade is gonna be very similar than the shade I get with, or I am like putting this down first, blending it out, and then putting this color over that, blending it out. Okay, they're gonna give you very similar effects, slightly different just depending on exactly how much you're adding of each, obviously, but the one where I'm layering is gonna give you a lot more full coverage. So I usually suggest if you wanting a natural finish, that's when we buff it on. Mixing is very easy if you want a natural finish. If you're wanting more full coverage, I always suggest layering up to give you more coverage. Okay, so that is what I do because I like to be evened out a little bit more. And so I will then go in with my main shade. Now, say you have a much more dramatic difference in your face from your neck. I might give you, no joke, 2 colors that are opposite ends of the spectrum. Of the most color matched to are probably Mango, okay, and then Candlelit, okay? I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Okay, so this is Mango, this is Candlelit. Mango is a warm shade, Candlelit is a neutral. And the reason that works so well is because when you layer, let's see if I can do this and actually show you guys on camera. When you layer Mango and then you put Candlelit over it, do you see how much it tones down that warmth? Okay, so that's Mango layered with Candlelit. Okay, that color is very similar to Amber. I mean, you can almost, I swiped more here, but you can barely tell the difference. Okay, so we did Mango layered with Candlelit. It's very close to Amber, okay? But Amber is warm. Gives it a touch of warmth. Obviously, any color you're layering over a warm shade, you're gonna have that warmth under it. So if you have that warmth in your skin already, you need that Mango, or that Amber is also a warm color. You need that in your skin in order for it to look natural. Okay, but layering it gives you a similar effect to straight up Amber. But say you have darker areas on your face that Amber's not gonna work on because it's not gonna stay, because certain areas are the color Mango. This is how we match your darkest tones, okay? Then we layer in order to then bring in the color of your neck, tie it all back together. Then we can brighten from there to bring in your lightest tones, okay? But you're gonna have more longevity, better coverage, layering those two than using just Amber. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a little bit about how I color match, the way I do and why. And sometimes it can be a little bit of intimidating if you're like, for 3 shades, but I promise it's super simple to just tap into then the next shade. So then I'm gonna tap into my sandy, okay? And then the important thing to remember that when you're wearing more than one shade and you're using a color corrector, you just press on that second layer, okay? If you start buffing, you're gonna start moving that color corrector underneath. You're gonna start mixing it more than actually letting that darker shade sit on your skin, matching your darkest tones, and then you can layer that lighter shade over it, and you're not gonna get as good a longevity if you start buffing, because that lighter color, it's going to mix it, and then it's gonna be too light for certain areas. I hope this is all making sense. I know this makeup is very different than traditional foundation, but traditional foundation cannot give you this glow or dimension. I promise you that. Okay, so I just layered. You can tell it like lightened it up, took down. I call it toning down the warmth, okay? Because again, a lot of these shades that give you color correction are warm. That's one of the reasons why they work so well as a color corrector, is because that warm undertone is so good at matching the warmth of the redness and taking it away. So obviously, as an artist, I'm the one that's going to pick the right colors for you. So there's some combinations that just work better than others. I don't like layering two warm shades. Normally it will make you super warm and it's just gonna pull you too warm. Now, some people are gonna be naturally warmer, and so those might work. Certain shades layer and tone down the warmth better than other ones. And that's where I come in. It's not all one size fits all. So if you know our highlights at all, a little bit about them is this is the order for the most part. Okay, there's Moonlit Linen, White Peach Aura, Sunlit. Okay, Aura and White Peach are pretty much the same darkness, just White Peach has more white undertones and yet Aura is more yellow. Okay, so White Peach is much better at toning down warmth than Aura is. Whereas we have June. June has more green undertone to it. It's really good if you have redness and are wearing it by itself. It is the same darkness as Candlelit, but Candlelit is neutral. So Candlelit is really much better at toning down the warmth of Mango, or a darker, or just the warmth. Amber and Wheat are the same darkness, but Amber is warm and Wheat is very yellow, okay? And is only really good for those people with really yellow undertones. Sandy is one shade darker than those, but is neutral. And then we go Mango, and then it's darker skin, and those are also used for color correction a lot, because you can tell they also have a lot of warmth in them. So you'll see me use Goddess some. Papaya is also great. Papaya is really good for dark circles. Again, when we're using color correction, we're almost trying to get to the matching that darkness level, and then we brighten from there. So just like we're matching the darkness of your face, then we can layer those lighter ones over it to then bring everything, toning it down and bringing it back to matching. Okay, so once I do my sandy, I am gonna go ahead and brighten. I usually contour first, but I'm gonna go ahead and brighten. So here is when we get into brighteners. Brighteners are universal to a degree. There's some that are very similar, like White Peach and Aura, but I can't wear White Peach without it showing more textured on me, because I don't have very many white tones, okay? So when I'm picking a shade for you, I'm looking at your undertones. So if you look at me, I'm much more yellow than white, okay? Probably because of my self-tanner, but Aura works for me because it's more yellow, okay? And anything lighter than that, you're gonna run into issues with texture if you're as dark as me. So I am wearing Mango Sandy, and I can wear linen, but I wear it much easier as just a pop over my normal brightener. So when we're layering those shades, then we can start going lighter and lighter, but you gotta remember, the lighter you go, the more texture, okay? Lighter shades are going to show more texture, wrinkles, fine lines, all of those things. So you just have to be leery of that, and you gotta think less is more. Because even when we're layering, so now that I'm at the shade Sandy, you gotta think, Sandy is still very far away from this, okay? Go all the way through, whoops, all of these to get to this shade. It's a big jump, okay? So sometimes if you're seeing a lot of texture in your skin, especially if you're doing your under eyes, you almost have to, like, I call it stair step it to get it closer to that color, so it's not gonna show as much texture when you're layering it on top. It's just like the natural skin. If I try to put Aura right here, it's gonna show crazy texture. There's no way I could wear that, but since I'm kind of getting closer to that, then I can. I hope this is making sense. Guys, this makes sense in my brain as being an artist for 3 years, and I hope I'm explaining it okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab the Buffy for this because I love this brush because I can press it under my eyes and I'm not moving around the mango or the sandy I just placed. Again, less is more. I'm just gonna tap into it and I'm just gonna pop it right there. Okay, your brightener, you want to be bright, but not so bright that it doesn't look natural either, okay? So when you're picking a brightener color, it's not necessarily like the brightest pop you can go for, and that's not always the best. You still want it to look natural, and I find that Aura is my best option. I can use a little bit of linen, but when I do, I just pop it right there on that inner corner and I blend it out super well. So usually if somebody, it also depends on how dark their skin tone is, what brightener I choose. I'm also looking at their undertones, if they are white, clearly yellow, or clearly straight in the middle and neutral. Okay, that also makes a big difference. And also, if you have more mature skin, you don't want to go super light, okay? You want to keep it at least a few shades down, but not too far down. Okay, so here's where we have really layered 3 shades. This is just sitting in my pores and I can see it, okay? This is why if you are layering any shades, the perfector is key. The only way I can get that sitting right is to press and blend that in. Okay, now even if you aren't using this to blend your contour, like I haven't even put my contour on yet, okay, I am mainly gonna use this to pull off excess highlight. That's what's gonna give you issues with creasing. That's what's gonna give you issues with feeling oily or sticky or tacky and it not looking like your skin, but looking like makeup, okay? See how when I blend this side, suddenly my under eyes are looking brightened, but still natural, and this looks more like I've got a bunch of makeup on. So this is the purpose of the perfector. Anywhere your makeup collects, I get creasing in my smile lines, anything like that. So this is what gives me that flawless finish, airbrushed look. Don't skip this. I have an entire video on Instagram highlights showing how to get this guy perfect, because that is also key. You want it not too wet, not too dry. Okay, what have I not talked about? Okay, we talked about difference in necks. Another option that I didn't really talk about because I don't have a lighter neck and I haven't contoured yet. Maybe I should contour real quick. I'm gonna contour real quick. Okay, much better. I didn't contour my nose, but it's all good. Okay, so one of the things I suggest in my color matches, if your neck is lighter and you feel like you're still pulling too warm, this is why I love having a brush like this that easily you can press on. So again, layering to get to the color you desire, right? So I'm matching really good, but if I wasn't, I could easily take some of my brighter shade. So sometimes I'm not picking the accent highlight, that brightener shade, purely because of your undertones. Sometimes I'm deciding on what is going to work best with the other colors I chose for you. And that's because, like I said, say you have mango, okay? Hopefully you can see that. Gosh, it's like right the color of my skin. Let's do it down here. Sometimes you have mango. Gosh, it really does not show up. Let's just lay it on thick. Okay, mango. I'm telling you guys, it's not very orange when you actually put it on skin. And white peach, okay? White peach is very white undertoned. When you layer that over mango, it tones it down so well and brings it down to about the shade Candlelit. See, I don't even know if you can tell. This one is obviously layered on thick. Okay, so by layering that, obviously I'm blending it out better here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So they're about the same shade. So knowing how these colors kind of mix and blend together and all about the shades, again, is my job. So I will pick those shades based on what color your neck is even, okay? So then I'm gonna give you a color that you could then apply over your highlight. So mine would be, I'm gonna pick Aura down here, and you can then press it on along that jawline. You see how much brighter that just made it? Okay, and then you can go in and you can press that shade anywhere you feel too warm. So if you're pulling too warm on your forehead, press it in there. And if your nose is still too dark, press it on there. Usually it's the jawline in order to bring in your lighter tones, but a lot of times it's also the chin. A lot of times people have a much lighter chin or much darker chin than the rest of their face. And then obviously anything right next to their neck, you're gonna be able to see a lot more clearly that like you're not matching. Okay, another option is simply bringing in a lighter accent brightener. So if my neck was still light and I didn't want to say go full coverage, say I just wanted to buff on or, you know, a thin layer, and then I just wanted to bring in those lighter tones by really brightening, you can do that as well. So you would just, you know, by bringing, and that's when I really suggest applying it over your highlight. So brightening right here along your jawline, center of your forehead, under the eyes, down the nose, chin. So that magic diamond I talk about and your jawline will then bring in those lighter tones. And so you'll look matching because your face is going to be multi-dimensional. You'll have the darker areas from your contour, but then you'll have those lighter areas that'll make your eyes pop and bring in those tones. Again, you can also mix the shades. So sometimes I'll choose, say, amber white peach for somebody that's got some warmth, some redness, maybe needs a little bit of under eye coverage, but they're pretty light and they also have white tones, white undertones. Those two colors are so versatile because they can buff amber in all over their face. They can then just brighten with white peach and bring in their lighter tones in their neck, or they can dab into both amber and white peach and mix it straight on the face or go over the amber, and that's going to make Candlelit, which is one shade lighter than amber. So if they're pulling too warm, they can simply mix, apply that to the jawline, or you could even just apply, say they only have redness in certain areas or darker in certain areas, apply amber there. Then they can either press white peach on over that to tone it down, bring it back down to Candlelit, or they can mix, put that on, bring it down to Candlelit, then brighten with white peach. This makeup is so versatile if you know how to use it and you have the right shades. So that's why I never recommend having one highlight shade for the most part because everybody looks better with a little bit of brightening highlight as well, but also because the versatility. You get so much more wear time if you have multiple highlight shades because you can easily mix or layer, and going into, say, fall when you're losing your tan, you can wear it one way and then go the opposite direction when you're going into summer and getting darker, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense and wasn't too confusing. If you're finding that you're having issues with your highlight, shoot me a color match. The questionnaire is below. I'd be happy to help you. I do send really detailed instructions on how to apply your makeup, why I choose the colors I do in my color match email. But it might be that you have the right shades and just aren't applying them the way that you could get the best results from. It might that you just need one more shade in order to kind of tone down or to color correct or something like that as well. So once we found your perfect shades, then you can experiment more if you want to try a different brightener or something like that. It's always fun to try new shades. I still do it all the time just for fun. So let me know if you have any questions. I feel like that was a lot of information. I didn't want to explain too much because color matching itself is not easy to learn. So hopefully that wasn't confusing. If you have any questions, definitely comment below. Let me know. If you have any issues, shoot me a color match. I'd be happy to help. And thank you guys for being here.